All right. Well, Ian. First of all, should we talk about the new lad that you brought in, Regan Griffiths? What do you like about him?
Um, yeah, when we looked, obviously with Doyle going out for a few weeks, we knew that we had to bring somebody in. We felt like we wanted somebody that could play in there that would, yeah, it's comfortable to receive the ball and drive forwards. Maybe a little bit more attack minded from the midfield and quick feet in there. So I think it just will hopefully complement what we've got in there in the likes of Jake Reeves.
Is somebody you were aware of before getting this job, or has it been a sort of quickly arranged one?
Quickly arranged one, yeah. No, it's not somebody that I was aware of. But obviously, when Michael Doyle got injured, we kind of went to the guys in the recruitment department, and they're obviously constantly working on upcoming windows, possibilities, what's going to fit. So then they provided with a handful of ones that they felt kind of matched what we were looking for. And then we went in and I spent most of Sunday looking through all of those players and gaining references, calling people that I knew around at the different clubs, and we felt like Regan would be a really good fit.
Scouting over the last year has been a bit of a nightmare, hasn't it? Unable to sort of go to games in person to watch them, unable to go to under 23s and things like that. It must have been incredibly difficult for them and for you, wanting to watch as much football as you can, but unable to do so.
Like obviously I've just come into the job, but even before that, normally, like when I was in Scandinavia, I'd have all of December free because the season finishes at the end of November, and I'd always come and watch a lot of games. So I'm always used to being, whenever I'm spare time when I'm here, I'm watching games. So it's been quite boring to watch so many on the. And you know what? When you watch games live, you see so much more. Like so much more off the ball things. So yeah, certainly from a scouting perspective, I guess not just us, but everybody has found it difficult.
How much will it help you, do you think, to have another body in there, somebody new, somebody young as well, enthusiastic to maybe mix things up at this stage of the season?
Absolutely. It's there is a little imbalance in the squad, to be honest. Positionally, we have a lot of. We've been like herding in right backs. There's a lot of right backs. I think we've got four, and then we didn't have so many midfielders. So I think this just helps us get a little bit better balance throughout the squad. We were lacking some potential options in there, and it just brings a bit of extra competition. So I think it's really good.
And without Matty Wolf, I don't know how long is he going to be out for the whole of the season. Is he done? Do you think Matty Wolf?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's gone back to his parent club now, where they'll take a look at him and help him through the rehab that he needs. So yeah, I wouldn't suspect that we'd see him again.
So do you think you might bring another body in there as well if you're talking about kind of a lack of midfielders? Or
well, I mean, we've been looking at what we've got, and I thought like Jim O'Brien did well in there, made a lot of good runs. Calvin Miller, we've started to work in that position, and then we have, we're hoping Michael Doyle's not going to be too long, just a couple of weeks, so we might be okay, I think, with what we've got in there. But yeah, it is a little bit thin on midfield area.
Yeah, you've had a couple of games so far. I wonder how over the last week how much maybe more difficult the job is, how different the job is to when you first took over. You must learn an awful lot very quickly when you first take over.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was not easy because I think the club's relatively well placed in the league, but still there's a lot of football to play, and I think every job is a challenge. You have different challenges. So when you come in, it's a real fast learning process. Me and Mo are learning a lot every day about the squad, about the league, and hopefully, we're working on improving the players.
Yeah, and it's interesting thinking about the confidence. I heard you talking a bit about confidence the other night, and you look at the league table, you look at where Notts are, and yet and it's before you arrived as well, but at times playing just with a sort of lack of confidence, and you wonder why that would be there when you look at the league table and think, well, surely they could just take confidence where they are in the league and push on.
But I think there's a general narrative around, we're such a big club in this league, and it's kind of like we have to get promoted, we have to be in the playoffs, we have to win the next game. And I think a lot of the other teams maybe don't have that level of pressure put on themselves that we have to. And so, and sometimes you can't always control the outcome of a game. It can be you can play brilliantly and lose, you can play terrible and win. Like, it isn't always doesn't always follow suit. So I think the most important thing is that we put on, like, you know, we have to work unbelievably hard. We have to have the right mindset going into games, and I think that's going to help us really, like, change that we have to win. We have to be in second or third. We have to be in these positions, and change it a little bit and just say, okay, we might not control every aspect. We can't control what other results are. We just control, like, what we do every single day.
It's about taking pressure off them a bit then, and then letting them sort of take a few more risks and trying to make something happen.
Yeah, just to play a little bit freer. I think that would be really important, just to play with a little bit more freedom.
All right, Ian, thank you very much. That's
Thank
great
you.
for me. Thank you.
Hi, Ian. I mean, it's interesting what you just say. Do you sense when the players are out that the sense they're playing with a little bit of pressure on the shoulders?
No, I mean, we put pressure on ourselves because, and also pressure can be a good thing, because, you know, we can step up with the pressure. It increases the focus, and so there's a lot of good things that can come from it. But, you know, I think it's really important that we focus on the things that we can control ourselves the most, and just focus on them, because there's a lot of external things that you can't control. So I think we try to just keep a focus on that, really, and we enjoy the pressure. I think the pressure's good, but we just got to utilise it in the right way.
Kick-off time has been brought forward. I know it's only 15 minutes. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if Champions League football, they play like this. Europa League football, they play like this. You know, we're human beings that can certainly perform with this short a time. It's not perfect. You know, Wrexham didn't play during the week, so I think it's an advantage for them. But at the same time, it's not a reason why we might or might not perform.
Just in terms of the injury situation, Richard Brinley?
Progress, but not ready yet.
Alex Lacey?
Same.
Who else? Callum Roberts?
I was waiting for that one. Yes, he came through training, so he could be in contention tomorrow, but certainly not ready to start.
Yeah, I was going to say, how close do you think he is to starting?
Oh, no, not yet. Again, he would have to come in off the bench, see how he reacts. So yeah, when I finished in here, I've got a meeting with the medical staff. We'll check how everybody came through and if there was any reactions, and then we'll be able to decide squad for tomorrow and who's capable of what minute. So we'll kind of see there, but he is that close that it could be available in the squad tomorrow.
And what about Lewis Nye? I mean, because I think everybody's so eager to get a glimpse of him. Have you seen him in training, and what are your first impressions of him?
Yeah, and it's, you know, I just actually sat and had a meeting with him and a really good chat, because he's really hungry now. I think he's done some really good training with Ian Hutton and the other medical staff, and he's starting to feel sharper. So I think he's much closer now. And yeah, we've seen bits, but of course we haven't trained that much. So, you know, we haven't been able to kind of get all of the reference points we want. But, you know, you can see that he's quick, sharp. I mean, he's going to offer something slightly different in terms of his pace. So it's just to make sure he's ready. And when the moment's right, I think he'll be able to step in.
And just in terms of the final third, I mean, it was interesting on Tuesday night, everyone's played well. First shot on target came in the 86th minute. What do you think needs to improve in that final third to sort of open the doors for the rest of the attacking players?
Take a few more risks. Sometimes, you know, there was a couple of times where we really opened it and we maybe wanted one more pass before we went in for that final ball. So I think we could just be a little bit more decisive in the final third. I'll be honest with you, before the final third, some of the build-up play for that was decent. You know, we were calm with the ball. We never got countered. We were pretty composed. We didn't look stressed. But I'd just like a tempo change and maybe one last pass in the final third to create and be a bit more cutthroat.
Yeah, because it felt like getting into the middle third and controlling possession was absolutely fine.
Yeah, it was.
But it was almost like there was this mental block when it came to the final third. And it just needed somebody just to take that responsibility to try and open up a little bit of space.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, the reality is, I think in the top 7, maybe in the top 8, we're the lowest scoring team. So that's obviously been a theme that we haven't got enough goals, probably for the amount of ball that we have. And like you say, I think we controlled the game in terms of possession and with the ball very well, but we just didn't. We need to now impose ourselves and be a little bit more direct when we get into the final third. And
what about Wrexham? What do you know about them?
Yeah, I was watching a lot of them yesterday, and I think they're extremely well organised. They've been on a really good run of late. Been playing a lot of like 3-5-2, but again quite defensively very solid and not afraid to be quite direct in their approach and attacking. So, not dissimilar in the attacking sense from Aldershot at times with their 4-4-2. Back to front quite quickly, so you've got to kind of be ready for those fast. When I watched the Aldershot game, a lot of very fast and short attacks they had, whereas we had a lot of longer attacks. So I think we may get some of the same.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks.
Pete, over to you.
Oh, cheers. You're right, Ian.
Hi, Pete.
On Wrexham, could this be quite a pivotal match? Obviously, 5th versus 6th. I know you've got 15 matches left, but given the implications either up or down the table, is that added into it at all?
No, not really. I think it's a game that's worth 3 points. I think it's a really important game, but I think it is the same value of game really as all the others that we're going to play. I think there's a lot of games afterwards, but of course it's a game that we would like to win just to give ourselves a bit of momentum. They have good momentum, so it'd be great if we could break theirs and start some of ours. But I think it's we just take each game in isolation. So this is a game that we're going to approach now and try and win. And after that, then we'll have Woking.
3 changes between Saturday and Tuesday. Obviously, as we've spoken, 7 days into the role, are you still learning about the squad? Are we expecting changes again tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm learning every day about the squad, and it's not necessarily that we change because I've learned something new. I think we're probably sometimes changing because we need to freshen it up as well. So many games, it's really important that the players are physically and mentally fresh. So sometimes it can be good to rotate a little bit and bring a few in because they have a new hunger and a new energy, and we're going to need that.
And obviously 2 difficult results. Have you seen any sort of leaders come out in the dressing room at all?
Yeah,
in particular.
Yeah, they're a really good group of players. They are. I think they have a really good attitude, a really good willingness to work extremely hard, and they want to win. They really want to win. I mean, there are some guys that step up. I mean, Jake Reeves became the captain, and he showed really good leadership qualities. So I think there's a few in there, and they're stepping up, and hopefully that gives us a push.
Perfect. That's great. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, Pete.
Go on, Alex. Finish us off.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Ian. Coming into the job, you'd have had an idea about some of the players in your squad. Have any of the players surprised you with what they've been capable of on the pitch and on the training ground?
Yeah, 1 or 2, definitely. I obviously watched a lot, so I kind of knew what to expect. But yeah, definitely 1 or 2. I think for me, even though I've only had a couple of games, that have stood out as having some really excellent qualities.
And we talked a bit about Tuesday night, and you said you were mainly disappointed with the final third. What are you going to try and do to sort of get that fixed for tomorrow?
Score.
Always good.
Yeah. No. I mean, take a little bit more risk and see if we can play a little bit quicker into the final third. Once we're there, once we get into the final third, take some chances to be able to create.
And obviously, we talked a bit about Cal Roberts coming back, possibly. Is that going to give a big boost for the squad?
I think so. Yeah, but don't forget he's not played a game since November, so it's I don't maybe harbour the same expectation as Lee or anybody else. It's more for me. Listen, he's not played since November. He's a wonderful talent, a good football player. But I don't expect him to necessarily come in and change the whole game. If he does, wonderful. But it's also about building him back up. So certainly for the last maybe 10 games of the season, we have a top player that's ready to influence the games.